Molding Talk. Molding Talk.
Hey, welcome to the More Than Tough podcast. We appreciate y'all tuning in. My name's Leah Mort from season 3, Tough as Nails. And with me today is Dequincey Walker, also from season 3 of Tough as Nails. And I am so thrilled to have him here. Welcome, Quincey.
Hey, everybody. What's up, Lee? How you doing, girl?
I'm
Good
doing
to see
good.
you. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks. So we could jump right into it. You know, how things started with you on Tough as Nails. How'd you get involved and interested, and you know, how'd that whole process go?
Yeah, it was during the fall when season 1 aired. So I came home from work one evening, and my wife, she was watching it. And so I just sat down. I was intrigued by it. You know, it was doing some blue collar work. So, I just sat down and started watching it. I got me a little bite to eat and just kind of wind down, and I started watching it. So she was telling me, hey, start watching this show. I think it'll be something you'll like to watch too. So maybe something we can watch together on Wednesday nights. So I said, okay. So that's how it all got started. I just started watching the show.
All right. So you were watching it, and what made you or maybe someone in your family send in a tryout video?
Yeah. So whenever we watch it, my wife Tiffany, she would say, I saw you do that before. You can do that. I would say, yeah, I've done that before, huh? She said, well, maybe you should go on there and try to do it. I said, I don't know about that. I said, they're not acting. They're really working. That's work that they're doing. And so no more was said at that point. So season 2 came around, which aired, I think, in April, I believe, or March or something like that. And we watched the whole season together. So after that, um, season 2 went off, watched Scott win, and then maybe a few weeks or a month went by. My wife calls me at work. She said, hey, don't get mad, but I done something. What you done? Is something I got to pay for? Or something broke? What happened? So she's like, no, nothing like that. So I tell you when you get home. I said, okay. So Leah, I got home and Tiffany said, I kind of signed you up for Tough as Nails. I said, what? I was shocked because I was like, I said I didn't want to, I didn't think I was going to want to do it. She said, they want to interview you. I said, well, I'm going to be obedient and I'm going to do the interview. Because I didn't want to, live with the woulda, shoulda, coulda, my, whatever people call it, I didn't want to sleep at night imagining what would have happened if I didn't sign up for the show. And then season 3 come on and I watch and I've been like, oh man, that could have been me on there.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I'll give it a shot. I'll do the interview and we'll see where it goes. And after that, man, they kept coming, and paperwork kept coming. I was like, okay, but they must be like me.
Most people listening know what happened after that, right?
Yeah, it was everything else is history after that. Next thing I was on a plane headed to California. So it was fun. I don't regret anything.
So what in your background made you think this was something you'd excel at, or made you want to do this?
Well, there's a lot of things that I've done as a kid. My grandfather was hardworking men. They worked in construction. They worked at mills where they made structural steel and all. Both of them were. Well, one of my grandfathers, he was a farmer. Basically, he kind of grew what he ate. He had a garden in his backyard. And pretty much he had little yard chickens. And stuff like that. He would have us picking up pecans. To make extra money, picking up like cans and stuff like that side of the road to, sell them for weight aluminum, whatever. I've worked on farms. I've worked, oh man, I've worked in mechanic shops. Of course, that's what I do now. That's my bread and butter now. I've just done all kind of work, construction work, and just my work ethic alone. I believe that I believe will give me a good shot at winning toughest nails.
I think it gave you a pretty good shot. So when you got there, was it different than you thought it would be? Maybe you had an idea in your head of what you were getting into.
I had an idea what the show was going to be like and how it was because, like I said, I knew it was going to be work. So with me being not, I ain't gonna say I'm physically fit or was at the time, but that was one of the reasons I doubted myself in the beginning because I hadn't worked out in a while. I was just working, and sometimes my job can be strenuous at times. Um, Working in hot weather, working on all this equipment. We got a bunch of it going down. You're constantly going. You barely have time for breaks because we are a production company where I work at. So everything gets loaded by mobile equipment, so or cranes, and I'm in the crane and mobile department. So we constantly going. We got to keep these machines and these vehicles and these this equipment going, so we can get it out of the mill and get it to our customers. But before this, me physically being in the gym and working out, I hadn't done that. But everything else mentally prepared me for that I've done. So um, the difference that I didn't think about was going into the challenges not knowing what we were going to be doing. I did. I'm not going. I'm going to say I did. I looked for an itinerary over the 6 weeks that it took to film season 3 of Tough as Nails. I thought we had an idea. I thought we was gonna have an idea of what we were gonna be doing, but that was totally different. We didn't know what we were gonna be doing from challenge to challenge, and that was the difference uh, for me. And that's what made me really a whole lot nervous. I didn't know what I was gonna be doing.
So for the viewers at home, it's true to what you see on TV. You pull up to that challenge, and until that moment you walk up and Phil greets you, you don't know what's ahead of you, right?
That's right. You don't know. You don't have a clue. You don't have a clue until it's game time, basically.
For folks listening, you were on Team Dirty Hands, and just in my opinion, I thought it was a pretty awesome team. Uh,
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Dirty hand.
awesome. I can't take sides. But so how'd you feel about your team, and what were some of the challenges that went so smooth you couldn't believe it, and maybe some other challenges there were some hiccups, and how did the team get back on track and working together well? How'd that all work out? What was the dynamic?
Wow. Of course, going into our first team challenge after teams were picked, you know, um, there were some things that we just had to just learn about each other. That first challenge when we did the logistics camp, we didn't expect that ground to be so hard. You know, that dirt out, man. It's like trying to bust through concrete, man, with a nail. Trying to drive that post over down there. But um, we learned a lot that day. We learned that Christine, when she was putting the tent up, she gave Chris direction on how to go about doing it. You knew about what we need to do with your military background, so you've seen it before, and you gave instructions on what perhaps need to go up first, and we done that. It's just that most of us haven't had that experience, and that was one of the things that we learned that first challenge, and we applied that to our second challenge when we went to Mount Baldy, and that challenge went flawless. When we had to rebuild those chairs, those ski lifts, and all, Tack and Jerome, they work in construction. They had a plan to pre-drill to replace the slats in the bottom seat bottoms in the chairs. Myself, Kalimba, we were pretty much the muscle of it. You were the technical one. You got up there, you tightened the chairs up. I mean, we worked. I mean, it was like a big relay. We would hand off chairs, and I mean, it that worked flawless. That was one of my favorite ones. I actually enjoyed being on Mount Baldy. That's one of my favorite ones.
Definitely, that was a fun one. What one wasn't so fun, or what was were there any frustrating team challenges?
Oh, well, the most frustrating one probably and the most toughest one for me probably had to be the moving challenge. We had to move all the furniture up those 4 flights of stairs, and then we had to take it from one end to the other without using the elevator. And it was so heavy. Then we had to, place things exactly how they was on the papers that we had to go by, the manifest and all. But it was just a tiresome job. I think that challenge lasted about 2.5 hours, if I'm mistaken, or maybe more. But then it got frustrating when we couldn't find our manifest and we already had pretty much the challenge won. And I was like, wow, we really got down and got it done, and it was just, man, so tiresome. And then to be ahead and to win by pretty much a whole room, and then to lose by just by a piece of paper, it was kind of frustrating.
Let's go ahead with the pit crew challenge. There were a couple hiccups.
Oh yeah, the pit crew challenge. That was a fun challenge. I was the crew boss on that challenge. It was somewhat in my wheelhouse because I've dealt with tires and changing tires, stuff like that, and you know, not in pit crew status every day, but I've had experience with that. But yeah, I mean, the very first time I rolled off of that, rolled off of the block, man, it was we we were going around, and I fell with the jack. So that put us already a couple seconds behind getting around there to jack it up. You know, that was one of the things I believe cost us time with that first pull out from the pits. So we pull out behind Savage Crew, and then a second time in a row we lost lug nuts for the tires. That put us even more behind. And there was one time where I didn't get the jack up high enough, so we couldn't get the back tire off. So yeah, those are things that cost us time. Because time is precious when you're on the racetrack. But that third time that we had a talk, and I didn't want to change anything, even though it was suggested that well, let's change people. I didn't want to change anything because I believed in my team. I believe in if we do it multiple times, if we got repetitions and doing something, then we will prevail, and that will happen. We went from the first pit was I think a minute and 20 something seconds, I believe. The second one was almost 2 minutes long. That was a big no. But for us to pull it all together and remember our mistakes, and then Christine making that courageous move by going head on and starting taking the lugness off the other side while we were on the first side finishing up. That ultimately right there saved us a lot of time and gained us time. So we went from almost 2 minutes to down to 1 minute and 11 seconds, ultimately winning that challenge. That was very impressive by the Dirty Hands team. I was so grateful and so blessed to be, a part and be that crew boss and not giving up, not having my team give up on me and me not give up on my team, even though we were 2 pits down.
Hey, it's not over till it's over, right? And you just got to keep your head in the game.
Absolutely, absolutely. You got to keep your head in the game. You can't quit. Even if you think you're behind so far where you can't catch up, you still got to keep going. Because you never know what can happen. We rallied together as a team and not let hiccups and frustrations get the best of us. We every challenge that we done as a team, we left it right there at the challenge site. We left it there. We accepted the loss those times, and we just talked about on the van rides how we can improve on the next team challenge.
I know in the vans you had a saying. Was it uh, cool
Uh,
heads, Go ahead.
Hot and cool head. And that was one of the things that my high school coaches always instilled in us. They told us, when we play football, go out there and play with a hot heart and a cool head. Play with compassion, but keep your head cool to where you can think. Don't let the other team get in your head to throw off your thought process. So we still got football to play. Some people can get in your head and they can make you think other things or have you mad or have you say things that the ref may not deem, sportsmanlike. And so there's penalties that come with that. And also, playing with a hot heart and a cool head, hearing that a long time ago really stuck with me once I learned exactly what it meant. So, and that's how I chose to, go about tough as nails, and I said that a lot in advance to the Dirty Hands team because that's the way for us to continue to stay on task, stay focused while we're doing while we're out there competing, for the ultimate team win.
It's interesting that you should mention that you learned that saying and you applied it in football because spoiler alert for those who haven't seen season 3, Dirty Hands does win the team events, and there was a bit of redemption for you from your days on the Lamar High School football team. Could you tell us a little bit about how that came about and just how that felt winning?
Absolutely. As we were at the challenge when we was getting ready to, resurface that parking lot. We was on our 4th win. I knew the day could be the day day I get my redemption. So back in high school, my senior year, and I can brag a little bit because I got some trophies and plastic stuff to brag about. But my high school years were great years for me. The team that I played with in high school, my classmates and teammates and friends and family, you know, we won my high school football team. We won 3 consecutive state championships. Um, I was on the undefeated junior varsity team as well, and I was also on the last 4 of the uh, track team who won 8 consecutive state track meets, and I was a part of the last 4.
Wow, that's quite
Win,
an accomplishment.
winning gold in my event my senior year in high school, which was shot put. So I got gold in shot put for the state that year, and so that was a blessing. But the previous months playing football, we fell short during the playoffs. I sustained an injury that will land me in a wheelchair for 4 months after 2 surgeries of having my leg reconstructed and put back together where I could walk again, basically. Um, I broke I was my tibia on my left leg was broken, and all the ligaments up in my left ankle were completely shattered. They were gone. Um, Lyman from the team we was playing, he was about 6'2", 270 something pounds. He was a big guy, and he went to do what we call a chop block. I knew what he was trying to do, but I was a little bit faster than him, so he hit me on my leg in the wrong place, and it shattered my leg. So fast forward that game, I wasn't able to help my teammates uh, compete for that 4th championship that we fought so hard for that year to get back to. And because I've gotten hurt and I couldn't help them win, we ultimately lost that game by only 3 points. 10-7 was the score. So that always haunted me after the years. I've always wanted to find some way that I can, repay the town, Lamar, that supported me during those years, that helped me out, that the people that brought my schoolwork home so I can, so I can, finish the semesters out on a good note. And when I finally got back to school, there was people my classmates and teammates and friends. They would push me in my wheelchair from class to class. They would get my lunch for me. I mean, I was grateful for a great group of people around me. And I've always wanted to do something to repay them, let them know that I am grateful for you all. And Tough as Nails allowed me to do that. Winning that team challenge for on Dirty Hands, we were that was something I really wanted to do. So when it was time to compete, I was focused on winning. I was listening to Jerome, who was the crew boss that day, give out instructions because he has done that before. He's done piecework, and a part of that was some of the work that he done. So he knew exactly what we needed to do. And so me being carefully to listen and follow instruction, doing my part, and not missing anything was how I wanted to contribute because I really wanted to win at that moment. And ultimately we did. After Phil gave us the Dirty Hands got the job done and we're the team winners, it was like it was like it was like a burden lifted off of me. It's like weight lifted off of me. I mean, I went to the ground, I put my hands up. I was so happy just to be just to have helped my team complete what I know to be a championship. I have a hard time losing. I don't like to lose. I have a hard time taking a loss. So I want to win. And me helping my team win that money and ultimately that, just to say we won season three's team challenge, that was a blessing that warmed my heart.
I hope the folks from your town were able to surround you and be with you during airing of that show, and that you guys were able to celebrate together. That was a community victory.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, it was such an amazing such an amazing time when I got back home and the show aired, and CBS showed a clip of my town. Little old Lamar was on primetime television. That was humongous. That was big, big for us, very big. And I was just so grateful that they aired that clip because the town, I mean, they just rallied, and it was like fireworks went off when that clip aired of Lamar on CBS. I mean, we got a lot of greats from Lamar that played in play sports and that has excelled in sports and play on Sundays. I mean, in the NFL and all. But I can't never remember Lamar as it is today being seen on primetime television. The town itself, and that was a wonderful, wonderful feeling.
That's a great hometown hero story.
Yeah, it definitely is. I love where I'm from, and I would all and I would all I will always, uplift Lamar. I will always praise Lamar for the support and everything I've learned there.
That's beautiful to be so proud of where you're from like that, and to be supported the way you were. But so that was a great time and a heroic time, you being part of that team. I know Dirty Hands relied on you immensely to get through all the team challenges. But in addition to that, there were the individual challenges, and you were a bit of an overtime specialist.
Yeah, yeah. I rightfully earned the name of OTOG. So yeah, 4 overtimes. That's a lot when you're only 4 overtimes when there's only 10 episodes and you're in overtime for just about half of them. That's a lot.
If it's not too bad of a memory to go back to those, are there anything you want to share about those overtime challenges that sticks out to you?
Oh, well, the very first one, we was at the cilantro fields. That was when me and Christine, we had to drive the tractors and we had to disc up a little patch of grass that's overgrown, for them to plant new crops and all. And the fact that I was on that tractor and it felt back home. I almost was daydreaming on that thing and forgot that I was in a competition. So it was fun. The not so fun part was I was competing with my own teammate. That wasn't fun. And but uh, we talked after it was over. Um, and like I said, we moved on from it. The next one, I believe it was at the Wilton, and the overtime challenge was we had to write tough as nails on the well, we had to put tough as nails up on. Let's get to work. Nails up on the marquee. Actually, Leah, that day I thought I might would be punching out because the way Phil was narrating the entire challenge, the competition at the time. Alfie had a whole word up there, whole sentence, and I barely had a word on the marquee. I said, "Oh man, this might be it. This might be it." But one thing I've always said I was going to do, and that is compete with a hot heart and a cool head, and never quit. But that one, I really thought it was going to be over. That was the one. Then the phone with Tack, nervous because Tack's fast. We after we got finished painting got finished resurfacing the parking lot. The overtime challenge we were going to be valet parking. We had to move the cars, and neither one of us understood what that meant. You basically had to play a little bit of Tetris in your head, and you had to have a game plan to uh, not waste steps. So you can only get one key at a time. So and the cars were numbered. So in order to be ahead of the game and stay ahead of the game, you had to have a good memory and you had to have a strategy. So the car that we was moving, we had to make sure that we run by the car that we had to move next to memorize the number and then move that car, put that key back of the car that we just moved, grab the key of the car that we had to move, and then do it like that because that was the only way that you were gonna win that challenge. And there again, it was a fun challenge, very very high intense. But the not so fun part was there again. I was competing with a teammate, and that was something that I never wanted to do, But at some point in time, we had knew that it was going to come, whether it was me or somebody else. And then that fourth challenge with Elizabeth at the construction yard. That one was very very fun. I actually had a lot of fun doing that one because I knew what I have I've done that before. Not that particular job, but I've worked with pipes before at my current job, fitting pipes and all. So I knew what it took to make that system work. And I think I've done a pretty good job at it.
I think you did too. You had a lot of people concerned because uh, the competitors watching, you couldn't see the flange on there, but you knew what was going on, and
Yeah,
it was just great the way you pulled that off.
yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed that. Um, but all it when I heard other people like I heard Phil say, "Yeah, I better back up. I think you're gonna get soaked." I was like, "Oh man, I got this. I'm good." Then I kind of glanced over at Elizabeth, and I was like, "Well, she's a little bit behind. She got a lot way to go. She's already tightened out her bolts and all. And you don't want to do that when you're messing when you're putting together pipes like that." I knew that going into that challenge, and that ultimately got me to win and had me in contention to still compete for the truck. And that was that 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 was that was that was a blessing in itself. Being in the final three, that was that was the that was one of the goals I wanted to reach, make it to the final three. So those four overtimes and the team challenges and just staying in contention was very, very important to me. I laid it all on the line. I gave it every piece of breath I had. I wanted to make it to the final three.
It was a nail biter watching you and Elizabeth and having you pull through. It was a very competitive challenge.
It was. It was. I enjoyed it.
So let's talk about, well, we'll first talk about, you made it through the 4 overtimes, which took you into the final 3. And from the beginning of the show to the end, I retained my opinion that you are a tank. And you proved that busting through the wall in the finale.
Yeah, yes. That I wasn't expecting the wall to be that soft. So when Phil blew the work whistle, it was time. It was game on. You know, it was down to the final 3. You know, it's the last leg of Tough as Nails for season 3. You know, so I'm trying to move quick as I can to be the first one to knock a hole through my wall so I can get my pallets through. But when I hit that wall, I lost my sledgehammer. It went all the way through it. And we couldn't go around to retrieve it, so we had to go through this wall. I just when I realized it was that soft, I just used the next best thing I had that was close to that sledgehammer. That was my hands. And I don't know what's on the other side, but I'm sure about to see. I'm about to lay it all out there. And so when I laid that first punch into that wall and it went through, I said, yeah, I can knock this one down till I can see my sledgehammer and I can start, and I can pick it back up and make bigger holes. But as of right now, I got to use what I got.
I think everybody watching was in disbelief and just crazy impressed with just how you attacked that wall, literally.
Yeah, had to go through it. Couldn't go on top of it. Couldn't go around it. Definitely couldn't go up under it. So.
What else about the finale were you impressed with, or frustrated with, or just what were your thoughts running through that?
Right. So after I finally got through the wall and I got my pallets across, there again had to climb up and had to untie a victim. Ropes, not good ropes. The very first challenge, the airdrop challenge, the knots, they got me. They got me. I could not untie those airdrop knots for the world. And I didn't know how knots, I don't know knots like that. So I didn't know what knots they were or how to untie them quickly. So, I just trying to untie them as I knew how. And had I known a little bit more about them, I probably would have been a little bit more quicker at untying those knots. So yeah, the very first challenge we done all the way up to the last challenge I've competed in, yeah, the knots gave me a fit. Gave me a fit. And then once I finally got it done, because at that point I was ahead of everybody. And then the knots got me, and then all of a sudden I was behind. So I had to play catch up. So going through the gauntlet, going through all the different challenges and all, finally got my victim free. And I'm glad it was not real because I probably would have hurt it severely once I had to drag it off of that container and drag it up to the next one. But got there and kind of got caught back up with the rest of the competitors and made a challenge out of it. We all it was fun, um, um, fun throughout. To be honest with you, once we got to the last container where we had to untie the chains, there again, gave me a fit, gave me a fit, and but over time, I kept working at it. I didn't give up. Kept working at it. By the time I got my chain off and driving in my stakes and pulling my rope ladder up, he was already climbing to the top. And at that point, I said, "Congratulations, Leah. You definitely deserve it. Definitely deserve it. You never gave up. You kept digging. You never gave up. If I was losing anyone, I'm glad it was you because you are hardworking. You picked me to be on your team. That's special enough."
That means the world to me, Quincey, to have you say that. And it's still humbling, and just everybody on the show is definitely deserving, hardworking. I mean, everybody had such great compassion and respect for one another. It truly is a remarkable experience. Just just to be selected for the show. So uh,
It is.
you and Jerome were no less worthy of winning. Just ropes and chains are definitely a great equalizer, without a doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's move on to something that happens after the show, and that is you can be invited back to be a guest on another season, and which you were just recently. So it was so fun to see you uh, with the season 4 cast. And could you tell us a little bit about how that felt to be invited back and just some insight on the season 4 cast, the personalities and the occupations?
Yeah, absolutely, Leah. It was when I got the phone call, and when I got the phone call for the invitation, Phil initially called me and invited me back. And when I saw Phil's name came up on my phone, I was like, "Oh, this is this the Phil Kogan on my cell phone calling me?" And it showed up, answered the phone, and it was him. I was like, "Wow, hey Phil, how you doing?" And the conversation went on, and then he invited me to California to be a part of one of season 4's challenge. They were doing an automotive challenge, and they asked me to come back and basically help build and design that challenge. And that was such a humbling feeling. I was so happy I could have screamed because besides winning tough as nails, like that is the ultimate toughest. I mean, I've experienced everything about tough as nails besides winning. Being the champion, the tough as nails overall champion. So from going into overtime, well, for one, being chosen on the 12 cast, that's enough in itself, right? But then prevailing all the way through, your team winning, you set your own record. You set your own record as now you're the OTOG, and then making it to the final 3, not winning, but then being invited back as a special guest on the upcoming season. I don't have any complaint about Tough as Nails. Meeting the cast from season 4 was completely. I mean, it was awesome. And knowing that I had a real serious fan of mine that was competing on season 4, although he was on Savage Crew, that has nothing to do with nothing to do with anything. But Laren, man, he has an awesome heart. His heart is big. I mean, big. This guy's well, we have a lot in common. Um, 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 he and I, we are. It's like we know each other already. I mean, we initially clicked when I heard him, um, uh, well, when I heard that he was a fan of mine, and for him to, um, when Phil asked him about me right there before the team challenge started, and for him to say all that and remember that from seeing me on season 3 and what we've been through, what we've shared in the past for his injuries in high school, stuff like that meant the world to me. That young man would always be a friend of mine, and meeting the other cast members, it was an awesome experience. They are very very talented, young, nice people. I mean, and they have what it takes to get the job done.
I thought it was also special that you weren't there just for the individual challenge, but you got to be there for the team event also. So you were all in.
Yeah, I was all in. I was there for both challenges. I was there for the team and individual challenge. The individual challenge, now that was fun. That was fun. I almost wanted to grab a set of tools and get in there and compete with them. Because that's how I learned just like that. We were in when I went through the automotive program. We had to build those engines. We had to build those engines. I could probably say I would have won that individual challenge if that was on our season. They had it. I mean, it was fun watching those individuals put those engines together and then fire them up. It was fun. I really enjoyed that. But just being there, you know, I felt very important being there and overseeing what they were doing. That really, really done something to me. I felt like I was somebody, you know. In my heart, I know who I am, but just being there back on Tough as Nails, back on primetime television again, as a special guest, you know, Phil in Tough as Nails Family and CBS. That's that's more than what I expected. So I'm forever indebted. I'm forever grateful to be, a part of the CBS Tough as Nails family.
Being on there and you getting to meet the cast of season 4 is just kind of a testament to how many people you reach being on the show, and how many people you inspired, people you'll never even know you inspired or encouraged just by taking that risk and putting yourself out there on the show. You'll never know how many lives you touched, but it's so nice that you had that extra, you know, that extra time on the TV and just a little more insight to how truly important you have been in other people's lives.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's it's I don't know how to explain it. You know, it's a wonderful feeling. You know, knowing that, like, that's confirmation for me. You know, hearing you say that, and then it come to life right there in your face. You know, to hear a total stranger, that you never met up until that time, but you never know who you're inspiring. So it's always great to just do the right thing and just live like, no pono, live righteous, do the right thing. You never know who you're gonna reach. You never know, who's watching. Because someone is always watching. So I always encourage people around me, do the right thing, keep your name clean, and always, um, do what's right.
There's no truer words, Quincy, than as a father and a husband, that you are so careful with your words and your actions, because you know the legacy it leaves. That's a great way to close out our time here on More Than Tough. But is there anything else that you wanted to say to folks who have been watching Tough as Nails?
Just to the fans and to everybody that supports Tough as Nails, that's watched us as Tough as Nails. I believe I speak for Dirty Hands and Savage Crew. We say thank you for watching the show. Continue to watch seasons, seasons prior and the current season and the ones after. It's you guys, it's the fans that what keeps Tough as Nails on the air. And Phil and Louise, thank you for your vision, for your dream, of honoring those blue collar workers. I can't thank you enough for that. So to the seasons 1 and 2, hello, I'd love to meet you someday. Season 4, great seeing you. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Love you, love watching you. I'll be on watching you tonight when it comes on. So continue to do what you do. We're rallying behind you. Like I said, we're one big family. It's not about this. I mean, why are you competing on the team? Yeah, it's Savage Crew and then there's Dirty Hands. But, you know, overall, when it's all said and done, we're all the same. We're all tough as nails. We all one big happy family. And I encourage all of you to stay safe and love one another. Protect your name, protect your brand, and do the right thing. Do the right thing.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Quincy.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Folks wouldn't know it, but tonight's Wednesday night. We're on the East Coast, so at 10 o'clock tonight, we'll be watching season 4 of Tough as Nails, and definitely looking forward to seeing what they're up against. Saw some nets on some previews and some votes, so
Yeah.
looks like it's gonna be some hard work. So I just, I'm not even on the show anymore, but I look forward to seeing the new people and what they're up against and how they work together, and how they show respect to one another, and just the hard work. I can't get enough of it. So
Absolutely.
all right, well, maybe we'll see you on season 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, maybe an all-stars, right?
Maybe, who knows? Maybe we'll see you. Maybe we'll see you. Who knows?
Nobody
Who
knows.
knows? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Lee, it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to see you. Great talking to you. And I hope we'll cross paths here soon.
We're family. We absolutely will. Thanks, Quincey.